And I believe we are now live.
Hey,
I believe it is now working.
cool. So we'll have Becky send the link out on Remind.
Yep, we should be good to go. We are live on YouTube. Okay, awesome.
Yay.
Let me just send a message to them.
That's fine.
Okay, we are set. Sweet. Um, we'll
We'll
give
just,
everybody a minute or two to kind of join us and whatnot
yeah,
before we start, just because issues and whatnot.
I can ask you for your opinion, and we'll just do this unofficial poll until we get some people.
That
Okay,
works.
which one is cuter to you? A, this baby Yoda, or B, this baby Yoda?
Hold them both up.
Hold on.
The one in your left hand.
This one?
Yep.
I agree.
I don't know. It just looks overall cuter.
Oh, I think it's cuter, but we got to get the people's opinion.
I get the people's opinion.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm just posting stuff to Facebook real quick.
Oh, no, you're fine. Yeah, Alex was making these because I was like, you got to make the baby Yodas. They will sell like hotcakes, you know?
They will. People are so in love with Baby Yoda right now.
Right. Myself included. Um, so, um, yeah, so I was saying this is his latest one. And he was like, I think this one's cuter. And I was like, nah, I think this one's cuter. So I just want to get a poll. He likes it because the cup is like covering part of the baby's face.
uh,
I like this one because you can see all of the baby's face,
I just think in general it looks cuter.
right?
Oh,
So last night I did a Netflix party for the first time. It's a Chrome app called Netflix Party. It's free. So as long as you have a Netflix subscription, you can use it and you can watch a movie with your friends at the same time. And there's a chat function that's in a window next to the movie, and you can all like chat with each other.
but it has to be on your laptop, I assume.
Laptop or desktop, yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't do it through my TV or something.
No, but it was okay. I didn't mind that.
Good.
It
All
was
right.
it was it was good.
So the link worked um, on YouTube. Let me send it out on Remind, unless Becky did. Um, but I think that we're good to go now, hopefully. Becky sending out the link on Remind right now, so we'll give everybody another minute or two before we officially start stuff.
Yes. So with the Netflix party was with my Rochester book club because I'm in like three book clubs, I guess.
Great time to start a book club.
It is a great time for a book club. My in-person one that's in Batavia can't meet. So I don't really know how they're doing like the digital meetings. They haven't really figured that out yet. The one through SUNY Geneseo is an alumni one, and that one's always been digital. So
Yeah.
nothing's changing with that.
Maybe you should tell the Batavia one how the SUNY Geneseo one is doing it, and say
Yeah,
like, this is how they do it. This is how we should do it too. If it works well.
I don't love the one that's at SUNY Geneseo because they use a specific website and they have like they have discussion boards where you just go on them and you answer questions and respond to each other, but I don't
Oh,
think that it's really like fostering a good dialogue. I think it's a lot of people monologuing at each other, like,
well,
this is my
yeah.
thoughts, these are my thoughts.
I mean,
So
I would think the best way to do it would be like over Zoom. or like everybody call in somewhere or something like that, you know, as opposed to just a blog post, because that makes it sound like more like an online class or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I've only read one of the books for the Geneseo one just because they keep picking the ones that aren't the ones I'm voting for, and and I haven't been able to access the other ones. I can buy them obviously, but with a lot of book clubs to juggle, it's I gotta be practical about my money.
Maybe you have too many book clubs.
I do.
Karen thinks you do.
I went from 0 to 3 in 1 year. I don't know what happened.
You're an
Well,
English nerd. That's what happened.
yes, the Rochester one is interesting because it's not like we're all reading the same book. So it's like, how is that a book club? But we are all doing the same challenge for Read Harder, which I've tried to accomplish for the last 3 years and have failed. Or 2 years, I guess. So third time I think will be the charm. So that one is just like about diversifying like what you're reading, and they give you specific challenges of like read a debut novel by an LGBTQ plus author. So
Oh yes, the read. Yep.
yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now actually. So everyone's doing it at like their own pace, and then we just like meet up once a month and eat snacks, and we're like, hey, this is the book I'm reading. Is it good? Sure. Do I recommend to others? Meh. So it's pretty nice that way.
Well, because
It's
let's
it's
be
very low
honest,
key.
a book club is really just for the food.
Really, yeah. No, it is for the food. But we were supposed to watch The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, hashtag nostalgia. But that was taken off of Netflix. So
uh,
we were like, well, what are we going to do? We went through some different options last night. And then we settled on the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, which was
hmm,
excellent. It's really
okay.
good. It's a World War, it's like post World War II
Interesting.
in England right after.
All right. Well, we have 11 people watching. Jenna says, "Good morning. Good morning, Jenna." Laura says that is such a good movie. I'm assuming she's talking about one of the ones you were talking about.
Yeah.
And welcome to tea at like 10:25, everybody. We apologize for the weird stuff that happened. My internet connection completely went out, and I couldn't do any of the streaming, so that's why we started a little late. But we're here now, and it's still in the 10 o'clock hour, so tea at 10 can still happen.
Yes. Let me get my poll and then we'll get to our topic for today.
Go
I
ahead.
need to know which one is cuter. A, this baby Yoda, or B, this baby Yoda. A, B.
Hold them
Type
up a
your
little bit.
response.
Your camera's down too low. I mean, so
This?
like there, right there. Yes.
A, B. And then put your answer in the comments and I will give the feedback back to the creator.
We have one person for A,
Okay.
another person for A,
Okay.
another person for A.
I keep telling him, I'm like, I've got good taste. You gotta listen to me.
Apparently, he just has bad taste.
No, I just have
Kendra.
really good taste.
Kendra says B.
Okay.
I think B was just a cuter moment, like individual moment from the series. But overall, A I think is the better choice.
All right. I will give the feedback back to the creator. And thanks for taking my poll.
Oh gosh. Okay, so back to tea at 10. That was fantastic. So my mug today is a cauldron that says Polyjuice Potion.
Hmm.
So after I drink this, I'm going to transform into somebody brand new.
Oh, who are you going to transform into?
You'll find out later.
Oh, okay. I've got my Jesus Christ Superstar 50th anniversary mug that I went when I saw the musical. And on the back, it says, "What's the buzz? What's a happening?"
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Karen has no tea. She spilled all the tea already.
It's just me today. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we want to talk about today is we're going to change the topic a little bit. We're going to talk about accessibility tomorrow to make sure that we're well prepared with resources and everything else for y'all. So that's going to be tomorrow's topic. Friday will still be a fun Friday. Maybe you'll see another dance. Who knows what's going to happen on this Friday? I would love to dance again. Uh, but today, what we're going to talk about is the importance of, or the benefit, I guess, of using your online portfolio that we have developed for you. And what I mean by that is more just like that folder in general. And when it comes to communicating with us and having us help you with things, especially in this digital age, because you can also use this portfolio for things beyond just Upward Bound. Mm-hmm. So, all of you should have a folder that is shared with you at this point through Upward Bound. The owner should be Upward Bound, I think. If not, I'm going to have to change that. But essentially, all the advisors have access to this folder, and it's in Google Drive. So it should be shared with one of your Google accounts. In this folder, they all come with a portfolio, which is an Excel sheet. And that Excel sheet just kind of has a bunch of tabs that kind of help you to stay organized and help us to kind of track a lot of stuff over the course of your 4 years. And you can add to it and change it as you need to. Ask us if you need help filling it out. But I want to talk about that folder as a larger tool and not just that one portfolio. So this folder is yours to use for however you need to use it to save documents, communicate with us, do anything college related or high school related that you need to do. So, for example, if you want, during your 10th grade summer, you will create a resume and advisement, which Christina did with a bunch of her students. And this resume you will put into this folder, and there's 2 reasons that we do this. The first reason is if it's in this folder, it's easy for us to recover and all of us have access. So it's going to be a lot harder for you to delete it and make it permanently deleted. And it's going to make it harder for you to lose it. So it's kind of just like a safety precaution to make sure you don't lose it because your resume is very important. The second reason is that we do all have access so that during your summer advisements, because after 10th grade, you will be updating your resume, or during the school year as you get new jobs or new awards or whatever, we can get on your portfolio with you and we can collaborate with you on that resume in real time, as opposed to being a Word document where you work on it on your computer, you save it, you email it to us, we download it, we open it, we make comments, we save it, we send it back to you, you have to re-download it, open it back up. It just turns into a hassle. Stuff is lost. You can't collaborate. It can take a lot more time. So having your resume in a Google Doc in there just makes it easier for us to collaborate with you. Do you want to add anything to that?
Another reason why is that so when you end up doing like a work study, sometimes the supervising departments want to see the resume of the students that they're going to have. So even though we place the students, the supervising departments still have specific requirements that they are looking for and that they want in a candidate for their work study. So, they often will request for us to give them your resumes, and we understand that it's difficult to try to have you like scan it, fax it to us, what have you. So having it in this location where both of us can access it, you as the student and us as the staff, it also helps facilitate that on our end too.
Exactly. I'm just responding to somebody on Facebook to try to help them figure out links. But yes, everything you said is correct. It really does make it easier for us if we have to give the resume to whoever. If you want us to look at it real quick, it makes it very easy for us.
And a perk by us having you do this early is that you usually have to end up doing this in 11th or 12th grade anyway. In whatever class that it's sometimes done in English classes, sometimes it's done in like BOCES courses, and you already have like a leg up against your classmates. not because it's a competition, but because you already have something that's like formed out in the first place. So it makes it easier to update it, and then you get the better grade.
Exactly. And once you get to your 10th grade year and you're making your resume with Christina, and usually a guest that we bring in that helps with resume writing, it
Hmm.
usually takes you a couple days when you're first making a resume to get the formatting properly, to get all the information on there, to do the research, to find out what you should be putting on there and shouldn't. It's a process. So doing this during advisement and having that copy saved in your portfolio folder really does just make life easier in general.
Hmm.
So I want to stay on the topic of resumes for a minute before we talk about other uses for this folder.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, and what I want to talk about is this is a really great time for all of you to update your resume. You
Oh
may not have a
yeah.
lot of stuff to do, and you can always be updating your resume. Like, you can always be updating your resume. If you get an award, go put it on the resume.
Hmm.
You can do that the day you get the award, the week you get the award, anything. If you get offered a new job or you get hired, you can put that on your resume, and you can update the old job that you might have had and put an end date.
Hmm.
If you take on new responsibilities, excuse me, in your job, as you take on those responsibilities, you can add those to your resume. So your resume is a living, working document, which just means that you can update it as much as you need to, and you should be updating it all the time. I mean, even with Upward Bound, Christina and I and everybody else, as we do new projects, as we may become the lead on something, as whatever new thing comes up that we're doing, that's another skill that we can add to our resume under our job.
Hmm.
So keep adding stuff to that. Um, Good.
I was going to say, you should probably be working on updating your resume once a year at least,
Yes.
especially while you're in school because you're doing so many things. But even when you're in the professional realm and you're like entry level positions, you want to put down as much experience as possible. If you've had projects that have had great outcomes, say for instance, you did a fundraiser for like an organization through school or outside of school, and you helped, create the fundraiser. You can put down like how much was raised. It shows that you pay attention to details. But it's important to have those types of things so professionals can see that you are a serious person who cares about outcomes. But also, it just like rounds you out as a candidate as well.
Exactly. And what you're bringing up there is a really good point. Many people think that resumes should be only um, the jobs that you have, but your resume can be that volunteer experience that Christina is talking about. If you're in a club or organization and you are in a leadership position or you're helping with one of these fundraisers, that stuff that you can put on there in a separate section,
Hmm.
usually called volunteer experience or other experience or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, I also, Christina was part of this organization called Hobie for a long time, and she got me involved as a speaker at Hobie. And so whenever I give a talk at Hobie, being a speaker is another skill that I can add on that, and every year that I do that. When we present at conferences, that's something else that we can add to our resume. So there's a lot of little things that you can keep adding to your resume. Anything professional you do, you can add to that resume in a different section. It's not your work experience, it's other skills or maybe presentations or conferences or volunteer or a million different categories that you could put stuff into.
Yeah. If you are, a captain of a sport that you're
Yes,
involved with by the end of high school, definitely put that on there. People want to see your leadership skills.
exactly. And a good thing to do if you're a sophomore or a junior, and even the beginning of your senior year, your resume kind of acts like a collection of all of the things that you have done that scholarships and colleges are going to want to see. So if you can
Yeah.
put all of that in one space and you have one document that has all of the experience and things that you've done, that's going to make it easier for you to apply for scholarships and to list all the things you have to list for college applications. And a really great thing is if you have a resume and you've been updating it as stuff is happening, you can print out your resume and just attach it to any of your scholarship applications. It's not going to hurt you to add on a resume, and it's going to give the people who are reading it a better idea of what exactly you've done and the kind of person you are. So that's another benefit to having that resume updated and done. So when we have you all do this stuff in your sophomore year, you may not be putting a lot on it at that point, but we're setting you up for something later on in life. And it may seem dumb that we're having you do it, but it's a really positive thing. So you really should be doing it and taking it seriously.
You have to put effort into your future. If you're not putting effort into it, then like, what's the point in being a participant?
Exactly.
So.
I am a very strong believer that like good things happen to you and that, you know, life works out how it's supposed to. But in order for those good things to happen to you, you have to put in effort. And if you're not putting in the effort, good things are not going to happen to you. So there's that. Anything else that you want to say about resumes?
Yes, one more thing. So I've talked about this with the current juniors and a little bit with some of the seniors when we were talking about letters of recommendation. But even when you ask a teacher, or in the future when you are in college asking a professor for a letter of recommendation, they will often ask you to include your resume. So they have a list that they can refer to and not just talk about what you're like in their class, but also talk about how you interact in school in different capacities, and potentially your leadership abilities or service or what have you. So that's just a general tip, is that sometimes when you're asking for recommendations, it's important to include your resume. Sometimes they will request it, but it's better if you just include it.
Exactly. So your resume should be inside of that shared folder. If you want to review it, you know, over the next couple of weeks while you're stuck at home, in between the schoolwork that you all will be doing, feel free to reach out to any of the advisors or any of the UB staff, and we will all be more than happy to go into your folder and work through the resume with you. I know some of the freshmen, and Christina said this before we started this video, but some of the freshmen are not going to have resumes. That's okay. We will work on it during summer program, and we will take care of it at that point. So for now, hang on tight if you're a freshman. Everybody else, contact us. Please let us help you work on your resume.
I mean, if you're a freshman, then you can still write down all of your activities in the activities section of the portfolio. So that's how you get started with your resume, is listing out basically everything that you've done during your first year of high school.
Exactly. So that's a really good segue. Mm-hmm. So there's two more things I want to talk about. I want to go into the portfolio a little bit more, which Christina just brought up. And then I also just want to talk about bigger uses for that folder. Okay. So since you just brought up the portfolio, we'll go to that first. And so she said that there's the activities tab that you can keep track of stuff in. And so when you all have the opportunity some point this week or next week, you can go through the portfolio and just kind of like look at what's happening. I'm pulling up a student's portfolio now so I can like go through it. I won't say who it is or anything. Actually, I'm going to go to a particular student because I know that theirs is incredibly filled out. So there's different tabs to keep track of different things on the portfolio, and one of them is this activities tab. And on this activities tab, every time you do something new, a sport, a club, it could be a non-school related thing, add it to this activities tab with dates. Yes. And exactly what you did, and a supervisor or an adult who was watching it if you can. Many scholarships will ask for specific dates of things happening. And honestly, I cannot tell you dates of when I did things in my past, because why would I remember dates? So you need to be writing this down so that activity list has a column for dates. And if you just put the month of the year, that's fine. Yeah. If you just put 9th grade or 10th grade, that's fine too. We can figure that out. There's a category column so that it's, you know, where'd you do it with? Was it with your school? Was it with Upward Bound? Was it a volunteer thing? Was it with Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts? Who was it with?
Group. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. There's an activity title column. So what was it? Was it a college visit? Was it a sport? Was it a blood drive? Anything like that. There's the organization that you did it with again, kind of similar to the category. And then there's a what happened thing. So if you just want to give us a really short thing, what did you do during this activity? If it was a college trip, write down the college you visited. If it was a sport and you were the captain, write that down. Just to keep track of what you have done in case you're not putting it on the resume. Because you may not put all of this stuff on your resume. You're going to put like the bigger important things. But this is a good place to keep it just in case you need it for later on.
Mhm. Also, it keeps you feeling good about your accomplishments because sometimes people are like, well, I didn't do anything. And it's like, well, no, you did all of this. Look at it. The proof is
Exactly.
right there.
Exactly. So that's the activity list. There's also a colleges list.
Mhm.
And that's if you have a college that you're passionate about, write that down. And then there's a bunch of categories about the college that the chart gives you to kind of explore. And this is good because if you're exploring colleges and summer advisement, it may not be with whoever your actual advisor is. So this allows us to see what have you actually looked at. So keep track of that stuff on there. And then there's also a career tab where you can write down the careers you're interested in. And then there's more information to fill out. Description, the education required, salaries, job outlook, skills you need, all that kind of stuff. And again, if you're looking at this during summer advisement or at home by yourself or in one of your classes in high school, this is just a place to write it all down so that number one, you don't have to do the research twice because doing research twice sucks. And number two, if it's during a time when you're not with your actual advisor, this will give us the ability to see what you're doing and then talk with you about it. So it's all just really good jumping off points. And there's more tabs in this that have more exploration kind of things. Fill them out as you need them.
Good explanation.
Um, that's all I really wanted to say about the portfolio was those tabs exist and it's easy for us to work with you if you fill that stuff in as you do it rather than make you do the same thing twice.
Yeah, it's been really helpful just because sometimes I have students who are like, "Oh, I'll write this down on a piece of paper." And I'm like, "Are you sure you're not going to lose it?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm not going to lose it." And then the next week, I asked them for the piece of paper and they're like, "Oh, I lost it." And I was like, "Why didn't you put it in the portfolio in the first place?"
And
So
you
sometimes when they do that, I'm like, no, not now in my wisdom of being on the job for more than a year, I'm like, definitely put it in the portfolio.
and we're not saying you have to fill in every single thing in that portfolio.
No.
If you just want to write down the colleges you've looked at, that's fine. Just write down the name. If you've looked at, maybe the cost of all of them, write down the name and the cost. The rest you don't have to fill out. It's just a reference point so that we don't repeat work because you all get aggravated when we make you do the same thing 2 or 3 times. So just write it down.
Yes.
So I want to go back to that big folder now. So
Okay.
in that folder, we own it and we share it with all of you. If you don't have it shared with you, please let us know and we will share it with you. Just send us whatever Gmail you want us to use as like a private message. Do not post that on YouTube in a comment. Um,
Yes.
so in that folder, put whatever you want. I have had a lot of students who, when we are writing essays for college, so for those of you who are not seniors, when you apply to for college, you have to write a personal statement essay. And I have students who put it in there and they put the question at the top of a Word document. And then beneath the Word document, they answer the question. And then I am able to, whether I'm in the school, in the office, or at home, go through that essay and help them edit it and make it as good as possible. And we can do that live because we can both be in that document working on it at the exact same time. So we can talk to each other in that kind of way. It's so useful. When you start your essays in summer advisement, which you do your senior year summer, you're going to start your essays there, put them into that folder, and then when you're in your school with your individual advisor, you can reference the essays that you already wrote rather than having to rewrite them. So that's really useful as well. I've also had, oh, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, and oftentimes in your English classes in 12th grade, they make you
Yes.
write that anyway. So you are also ahead of the game by having that. So you can have more time editing it, making it very beautiful.
Exactly. Um, and then also, I have had students in the past. I had one yesterday, and he needed to write a letter for NHS or to write an essay for NHS to get in, and then he needed a letter of recommendation from me for NHS. So he already had the essay in his folder, and he emailed me and said, "Can you edit this essay and make sure it's okay?" I went to his folder, pulled up the essay, I edited it in my apartment, emailed him right back, and said the essay's edited. I put in suggestions and comments. An hour or two later, he emails me back. He was able to resolve some of the comments or issues. He was able to edit it, add in my stuff, take out some stuff, change it around, email me back, said, "I've made the edits. Can you go back and do this?" And we were working collaboratively on it for a couple hours, going back and forth, which is why that folder is so useful for us because we're able to do that. And he needed, and there's a deadline for NHS. He needs to get it done within a certain time period. Having it shared between us makes it so easy and quick to get that stuff done. And then I wrote that letter that he needed, and I uploaded the letter to his folder, and that way he could just print it out when he needs it and turn it in.
Oh, beautiful.
It's easy access. It really is beautiful. It's such easy access. So please use that folder. And if you have other stuff, like if you have English essays and you need help with that, or if you have if you get emailed college paperwork, you can upload that as long as there's no personal information on it. If you get other random stuff that you need to upload and you want our advice on, or that we need to see, upload it in there. I've had students upload a myriad of things.
I wanted to say when he means by personal information, we mean like if it's a document that has your social security number, don't upload it there.
Hmm.
So that's what we mean by personal
Yes,
information. Yeah.
yes. I mean, if it's got your name and like your address, that's usually okay.
Yeah.
But if it's got your social number or your passwords, stuff like that, maybe it's like your login information from one of your colleges. Don't necessarily upload that unless you're comfortable doing that, but talk to us first
Yeah.
before you make that decision. Um, but I've got other students who have uploaded like awards that they've won. They've got like PDF of awards. They upload that mainly because they don't want to lose it, and they know if they just keep that piece of paper, they're going to lose it. So if you want to scan it in at your at your school and then just upload it to that folder, that way if you need that award sometime in the future, do that too. We are not going to yell at you for uploading stuff to these folders unless it's inappropriate stuff.
Oh,
Um,
of course.
so upload anything high school or college related that you want to save and make sure you don't lose, or that you might want help editing. We're more than happy to do that.
And if you want to scan things from your phone, I was telling Sammy about this app earlier. I'll post it later. There's a free app that you can use called Cam Scanner, like camera. And you can take pictures of it, but it'll look like it's scanned. So you can then send that PDF to your email, or you might be able to do it directly, send it to Drive. I'm not sure, but that's also a helpful way if you want to try to organize while you're at home and you don't have
Exactly.
access to like a full-fledged scanner.
Exactly. Um, so yeah, there's multiple uses for this folder. Please make sure that you do have access to it. When we share the folder with you, go to Google Drive, and on the left hand side there's a bunch of like tabs, and one of the tabs says shared with me. That is where the shared folder is going to go. You need to go into the shared with me, and you will see a shared folder that is I believe it's your last name comma your first name.
Yes.
You can click and drag that into the tab that says Drive. That way it's shared in your Drive and not in that shared with me folder.
Hmm.
And I highly recommend this because a lot of kids don't do that and they just leave it in the shared with me folder, and then they have to dig through all this stuff to find it and it gets lost. So as soon as it's shared with you or you start using it, please add it to your actual Drive. You just click and drag. like you do any kind of document or file on your normal computer. That way, it's in one spot. You know where it is. It's easy. It's easy to access.
It's good advice.
Yes.
Yes. Do we have any questions from students yet?
Nope. Nobody's asked any questions.
Oh, okay.
Is there anything else that you, Christina, want to add about that folder and its uses, or anything that we've talked about today?
I'm thinking.
I have nothing else that I want to add. I think we did a really nice, succinct, use that kind of video because it's very, very useful for all of us.
Yeah, I just, you have the time right now, so you might as well take advantage of it. That's all.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Let's just wrap it up.
Yeah, if nobody has any questions, we will be back tomorrow morning. Hopefully my internet will be working properly, so we'll be able to have tea at 10 at actual 10 o'clock and not like 20 minutes later. So tune in then. We'll send out the link again on Facebook and YouTube and remind. But until then, enjoy your day and be safe. Have some fun with whatever you do. It's going to be a little warmer today. So enjoy the day, everybody.
Yeah. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.
See y'all.